few moments prior, are trying to retake this site, but may very well think about saving. And Spud, this is a game that I think a lot of people, myself included, expect Dignitas to win, but Overgaming did perform pretty decently against Public just a few moments prior.
Yeah, plus they have just played a game on Cash, whereas, of course, Dignitas was on Mirage earlier on against Aposis, which they admittedly pretty much dumpstered, but they still did, they don't have that, warming up effect that you can get from this kind of thing. Thus far, though, Overgaming do look like they're going to be probably reclaiming this round. They are in very good shape, whereas MSL is very, very low indeed, and will indeed go down. So the force buy up works out for Overgaming, and they do in fact turn this around. I think we can pretty reasonably assume that Dignitas won the pistol round, certainly.
Oh yeah, they did indeed. They won the pistol. It was a close one though. Went down to 1v1. I was just watching it there as the intro was running, and was a pretty much off the back of a failed bomb plant. Went for the fake, got picked off. Did the last Overgaming player, but there was some sick frags in the meanwhile from Rome. I think he picked himself up 2 or 3 in the pistol round, so he started off very well. He was a pretty decent player against Public as well when we were casting them just earlier. But now Dignitas had the opportunity. They could have gone for the Force instead. They're biding their time. They're waiting to get the Kevlar and the AKs running through into round 4. And hell, if they can get a couple kills in this round, maybe it's going to get pretty messy for Overgaming. But there's Rome with 2 frags of his own against AZ and Kiabi. And this bomb will be planted now from Dignitas. So this is already shaping up to be a pretty solid round. There's another frag from Pimp with the Tech 9. Awesome work from Dignitas.
Good range on that Tech 9 as well. Frankly, I was surprised those shots landed. MSL does not find the headshot there, but will continue to hold this off. And playing for time right now, Dignitas, if they can just hold on for a little bit longer, they may have a chance. But at the moment, it's not looking too good for them. And Overgaming will cut them down very quickly indeed. Blade does have that kit, so no need to worry about the defuse timer, but still, good eco there for Dignitas. 2 kills and a bomb plant.
A great round for Dignitas. They'll be very happy with that. They had the option to potentially go for an early up, or to potentially an eco. He's still caught in 2 minds, goes for the AK. I think this is probably the smart play overall. There's no point running with the AWP if things go sideways quickly. You could effectively put yourself on an earlier eco, so I think AKs are the way forward. Dignitas looking to push aggressively, going to be opening up with that grenade. It's going to be Kiabi taking the point. Flashbangs onto Rome. He's the only player on A just now, but there is cavalry arriving in the meanwhile. What a flashbang from Overgaming. Absolutely destroyed Dignitas, but it's still a 2-on-2 trade, and the bomb is being planted, and this time around Dignitas can hold off with AKs.
Yeah, but can they hold off with their players? Because right now they just lost a man. NSL out of there. AZ, however, will return fire, as will Kiabai. And he's looking for that last kill now. Does look like he should get it and will indeed do so. 5-6-1-5. Caught out by the jump up there. And Dignitas back on the winning round. So I want to just mention that one of the patterns we saw against Aposis earlier on was a lot of sort of back and forth rounds early on, and it seemed like Team Dignitas needed a little bit of time to get into gear, but once they did, they absolutely crushed it. So Overgaming, I feel, really should be trying to build up a few rounds now, if at all possible.
Yeah, I mean, I think coming into this, a lot of people, and this is no, slight on Overgaming, but Dignitas are considered to be a much more well-rounded team. They have been at the top level of Counter-Strike for quite some time. Overgaming not so much. They're a team that have a lot of potential. They could potentially, get up there in the future, but Dignitas have been around the top for a while now. So I'm not sure about you, Spud. I expect this to be a 2-0 for Dignitas, I've got to say, especially considering that the maps are going to be Cash and then Mirage, and Mirage is a map that Dignitas will be very comfortable on, and then Inferno afterwards. But here we go. Overgaming have to try and fend off this push. They have no grenades at all, no defuse kits. They're going to have to go for the 1-digs. If they don't land the 1-digs, it's all over. And it looks like it's going to be the B push from Dignitas. Only one defender is here, and it is Aguila, who was one of the weaker links of Overgaming up against Publicly. He's been picked off without any retaliation whatsoever, and that bomb will be planted afterwards.
Yeah, I don't really see how Overgaming gets anything out of this one. Pimp is about to Batman himself a kill from above, and will in fact very happy to have that happen there. Nico trading as well is going to come out ahead of Mutrus. But it's just one of those cases where, you're ecoing and you're guessing and you think they'll probably go to A site just because it's easier generally to do that. But on this occasion, Dignitas opted for the B site, and they will be very happy to take away that round.
Yeah, very comfortable round in the end as well for Dignitas, not losing a single player, which is going to put their bank balance that much higher. As a result, Overgaming now with the M4s once more. Dignitas, they're a team as well that we've already seen. They can shift through the gears. They've went for that first push onto A, and that really does keep Overgaming guessing. That's the difference, I feel, between what we saw from Public Law and Dignitas. Public Law were always slow. They only ever pushed fast when it was ecos, when it was force spies and like pistols, with maybe a couple of shady assault rifles as well. Dignitas are the type of team that will just go for those rushes as well every now and again, onto B as well. So when they do go for these slower rounds, it kind of forces Overgaming to expend utility. You can see here there's a smoke down on A from the side of Overgaming. That's one less smoke they can run with, and they already, at the start of the round, didn't have many to to begin with. So this is what, in a nutshell, playing aggressive now and again does to the enemy. It forces the CTs into mistakes, into expending utility that they desperately need.
That's sort of the tenet, really, is keep your enemy guessing. Because if they're guessing, then they have to account for so many more possibilities with their grenade usage. Speaking of which, by the way, grenades unnecessary apparently for Overgaming, getting themselves 4 kills in about 1 second flat. But still, Nico going to try and reclaim some honor for the team of Dignitas here, and probably more like, well, I'd say it was more likely he would try and reclaim his gun, but actually chooses to go for the peek, go for the kill, and gets punished pretty soundly for it.
Yeah, Dignitas just got wrecked. There's not too many other things to say. Like, they just got completely angeled down. And so maybe playing the slow, steady approach through mid is not going to be one that's going to work out for them. Maybe go for those fast entries and the all-out aggression is what could pay out dividends for them. Again, looks like we are going to be seeing 3 players strong, moving towards the A site. The bomb in the hands of KOB, just on B, waiting for people to push up from Overgaming. And they did do this a couple of times against Public Lair. They rushed up and tried to catch Public Lair with the AWP in their hands, looking through onto the T side. But Overgaming, they're not going to fall for this. They're playing standard, they're playing deep, waiting for Dignitas to make the next move.
Well, earlier we did actually see Nico's AWPing on Mirage was frankly dirty in how effective it was, but he hasn't gone for that this time, and Dignitas are going to be playing much more close up this time. He needs the aggression here. MSL does come out the better in the one-on-one against Rogue. Gets a second as well through the smoke onto Muteris, which is a big takeaway for Dignitas here. He may get a third, does do so. Kills being traded back by Blade elsewhere on the map, but thus far it's a 3 for 1, and then another kill goes down. Oh, we have had a disconnect there from 5615, but even so, very, very good performance from MSL in that little invasion there, I suppose I could say.
Yeah, I guess so.
It's the wrong word, really. I couldn't think of a word.
Intrusion?
Like the word for, yeah, but it's like the word for the taking process of a site, but you can't just say the taking of the site. I mean, you could, I guess. Doesn't actually sound that weird.
I think you just have to taking. The whole time taking. I guess invading is like also viable.
It's sort of synonymous.
Yeah. Also, it was Overgaming that had the technical problem before as well, didn't they, against Public Cloud, that they had the timeout. I think it was. So hopefully it's not a recurring theme here that we're gonna see. This is a best of 3 now, ladies and gents, not a best of 1.
Yeah.
So the Dignitas, let's take stock of the situation. 4-3 up on Overgaming's choice of map. They lost the knife round, and Overgaming elected to go CT. So a great start for Dignitas thus far. And the main difference that we're seeing now in terms of just sheer class is that Dignitas are able to simultaneously push multiple sites at once and also go different routes towards that as well. Like we're seeing mid once more. MSL and Kirby just go straight through, no issues whatsoever. And that 2 entries have pretty much put Overgaming, who were already force buying this round, backs against the wall. There's very little they can do from this point forward because they have to split themselves off. You can see that 5615 is the only player that's here. He's got the first frag. He held the HP, but he has been picked off as well. So the B site now will be planted on in just a few moments' time.
Yeah, I think this is most likely going to be a clean-up process here. Rome will be the last man to fall for Overgaming as Dignitas take away another round there. 3-5. Bad economy situation for Overgaming now. This is what I meant before when we saw Reposis. It was almost exactly this. It was like, I want to say it was like 6-4 or 4-6 or something like that, and Dignitas were actually on the lower half of that, and then they just chained together as some ridiculous number of rounds in a row, completely crushed the rest of the game. Right now, though, they're going quite aggressive, shall we say, and pushing straight onto the B site very easily indeed. Pretty much cut down. Clearly suspected the eco there.
No, yeah, definitely. It's a good call from the team, but also good execution as well. There's no point playing slow. You know, the team that you're up against has likely got ecos. You may as well just go through and go for the jugular, especially when you have the prowess on aim that Dignitas do possess, and it's all on Rome. He has been a standout player thus far for Overgaming. 9-6, that's definitely a respectable scoreline for him. Mac 10 in the hands of MSL is hunting for that final frag, and there's no real point for Rome to save this P250, so he's going to be going for the exit frags instead. And there's the jump with the headshot coming in, so he's going to try and save this AK-47. And Kiabi, you can see, wanted to push through, but these two players are very low, 3 and 10 respectively. It was possible that maybe in another day Rome would get the double frag there, and that would be a pretty costly round for Dignitas, but instead Overgaming go 3-6 behind, and Dignitas still have loads of weapons to play with. Nico has just gone for that AWP as well, which is going to make things even more troublesome for the Spaniards and the Portuguese. I believe there's 3 Spanish players and 2 Portuguese players in Overgaming.
Yeah, I mean, I'd just like to point out, like, if you weren't watching the first game today, Nico was absolutely on fire with the AWP, and certainly starting himself off pretty well there. Gets himself a kill onto 5615. Overgaming haven't lost too much ground so far, but they are definitely playing very, very far back, getting pushed further and further away. Don't have much mid control right now, although Blade has snuck around through vent. Dignitas are actually angling towards that A push now.
Kiabi just lurking, forever the lurker, waiting for CTs to try and get around the back of either garage or through the B side. Here comes the flashbang. Again, though, it's identical. Overgaming are using their flashes, are using their smokes with 50 seconds to go, so Dignitas just have to wait here. There's still 2 flashes on Aguila, but he's on the B side. He always has been. So now, if Team Dignitas just get a couple smokes down and get an entry, this is pretty much the round loss for Overgaming. They're going to have pixel-perfect crossfire down right now, and here comes the push.
In they come. MSL, the man leading the charge, once again is actually going to get the blind side of Rome, catches him out, and he's only a distraction ploy, and yet he's been basically cleared the site. Why not? Gone A, as it turns out. But Overgaming, however, are going to return fire. Blade gets himself 2 kills. Pimp will return 1 with a grenade. KRB will clean it up in the end. But Dignitas, at the moment, they just look to me like they're outclassing Overgaming.
That very nearly backfired, though, when they went on to B. There's a moment where the vent player got a couple of taps across there, could have picked up a double or triple kill. But that's not necessarily Dignitas' fault. I mean, they assumed that the A stack would have been rife there. Not quite the case, but yeah, as you say, Dignitas is starting to pull away with this. It is an eco for Overgaming. And as you said, this is pretty much the same position where they started to take over in the first best of 1 as well, right? I didn't quite catch it myself.
Yeah, it was this kind of situation. Yeah, I think Post has actually got a couple more rounds on the board. Like they got up to like 4 or 5, but then Dignitas just won the rest of the half or something like that. Pretty one-sided past a certain point. Pimp looking to continue that trend here as he ekes around, mollied off by his own team, but Nico is going to be able to set himself up in a good position here to catch out the guys pushing up highway. The other one already smoked off. Keep spraying through. Will not find a kill. And Nico doesn't quite get that shot there. But I don't think Aguila's really going to be able to do anything to salvage this situation. Yeah,
it's just delaying the inevitable. This round has gone the way of Dignitas and the Danes very comfortably indeed as well. Now the question is, can he save this AK-47? No, is the resounding answer. Nico lands his 3rd frag of the round, and Dignitas are on cruise control. They can afford to lose like 2-3 rounds and still buy up. In actual fact, they're going to be able to buy up till the end of this half, whatever happens really. So it's just terrible news for Overgaming.
Yeah, life is very hard right now if you are Overgaming. You have so little margin for error, and to be honest, you've already lost the half, so that's got to be pretty demoralizing. Like, even if you win every single round that's left, still doesn't put you in a good situation. For the time being, though, they are going to take it one step at a time, do what they can. Dignitas going to be moving onto the site. Kiabai gets a kill, as Blade did already get one returned. Thus far, it's just a straight trade up, but Dignitas are getting worn down as they make their way onto the site. They're not getting the positions. And Kiabai will go down now. Probably spelling the end for Dignitas this round.
Yeah, maybe a bit of overconfidence from Dignitas. They're not checking the corners there. Rushing through smoke is never necessarily the greatest ploy, but still they are in this round. Nico only has 2 HP, but sometimes that's all you need with an AWP, and has plenty of grenades in his back pocket as well. 50 seconds, plenty of time to play with. The smoke is going to come out, try and screen Pimp's push across. The bomb is dropped in a pretty precarious position, though, for Dignitas, which could be an issue. And the CTs know this, so they are just going to be charging themselves on top of that one. Molotov into upper, Molotov into vent as well. Oh, the push through from the CTs could be fatal. It's not going to be, though. Somehow Rome gets the frag while jumping up. And now it's all on Nico. He walks into the grenade. And that will be Overgaming picking up their 4th round. But I feel like maybe a couple misplays there from Dignitas.
Yeah, that was actually quite close in the end there. But Overgaming get their round, as I say. Take it one step at a time. Just hope they can continue that trend. Dignitas maybe will give themselves a light kicking for not having closed that one out. But not going to be too heavily beating themselves up, I'm sure. For the time being, very, very content with the way this half is going. Dignitas looking to play a little bit around mid right now. Hazy trying to catch one out. Nothing doing so far, though. It's just a fairly slow-paced aggression. We will get 5-6-1-5 and get traded back on. Yeah,
it does do so. That Molotov slightly out of place, which was not fantastic from Dignitas. Hello, camera. Please switch over. Thank you. Did you just get stuck as well there? Just
yeah,
looking at
mine's
corpse.
Still stuck, actually. I haven't...
bit awkward.
Yeah.
Gotta love that bug. 50 seconds, though. You can still see that, again, it's Kirby who is on the B side. It's trying to be a pain in the backside, a real nuisance to the CTs. It's not really working. He's going to be joining the rest of his team. 40 seconds down the timer. You can see the CTs have already called this. They're all rotating as well. So all 8 players will be in close proximity congregating on this site. It is going the way of Dignitas once more. That's beautiful spray control. Kirby does get himself 2 frags before being traded out. That's all on Muterus. And, well, he is 6 foot under, 9-4. And this is quickly shaping up to be a brutal half for the CTs because it is a pretty even map. 9-6, 10-5. It certainly is not for the terrorists normally.
Yeah, I mean, we did mention before, Overgaming CT half on cash in their previous game did look a little bit, you know, not necessarily ideal. They weren't quite as snappy. They looked a lot more coordinated on their T side. But they're sort of building themselves a bit of a mountain to climb right now. And as I said, they don't really have a lot of rounds to work with. It's the P250 Bonanza right now. We'll see if they can get Pip. But unfortunately, it is not happening for them right there. They do get him in the end. Just the minor issue with the old losing 3 people for the privilege thing. Dignitas. Well, short of Aguila pulling out the greatest clutch I've ever seen in my life. Probably from this round. I think we can say that.
Yeah. You're starting to see the difference in just raw skill and talent. Again, no knock on Overgaming, but Dignitas, they are just bossing it. There's not much you can analyze about this, really. It's just coming down to when it gets into the aim duels, Dignitas are winning. When it gets into strats, Dignitas are winning. The rounds where Overgaming have won has typically been when Dignitas have made really, really huge mistakes. For example, when that bomb was dropped just outside of B towards the CT spawn, that was a mistake in lower. But by and large, Dignitas, when they want to start pushing in, they are getting the rounds. And there we go. Just as I mentioned that, they rush onto the site, easy peasy, no real flashes down, no smokes, nothing. They've just gone straight through, get the bomb planted, and this should be 11-4. And this is a bridge too far, in my opinion, for Overgaming.
Pistol round or die, ladies and gentlemen, very shortly coming your way, I suspect. And frankly, even if they get it, it's an uphill battle for Overgaming. But, well, I mean, it's still not impossible for them to get this round. We'll see if they can make that push happen, but they're having to run through smoke, and they've lined up for Nico, who gets himself a double. Very, very simple. Thank you very much. I'll take that. 5-6-1-5. 5-1-6-1-5. Does do his best to get reclaimed a kill there, but good half called, and 4-11. Not the finest situation for Overgaming, but honestly, Dignitas doing absolute work here. I mean, I always thought of them as like a tier 2 team, like top tier 2. But I've always thought of Overgaming as being in the same kind of class. But right now it's looking Like, there's just too big of a difference.
I'd say that Overgaming are probably not the same kind of level as Dignitas, in my opinion, at least. I mean, again, it sounds like I'm being really harsh and brutal, but I think the results speak for themselves. Yeah. Dignitas are a team that can take some of the best teams in the world to their limits, you know, so I think Overgaming have got their work cut out for them in this best of 3. Nico, though, with the first pick-off, is going to make things that much more difficult, and you did call it before, it's pistol or bust pretty much for Overgaming, and they've lost the first player. They're going to be forcing onto the site. This should maybe favour them in terms of raw outgunning of Dignitas, but you can see the manoeuvrability of Dignitas just fluidly coming up from the behind, getting the frags, and there we go, AZ seals it up nicely, 12-4. As I said before, I think this is too far gone now for Overgaming. They're probably going to have half a mind towards Mirage, which, again, is where Dignitas typically shine.
Yeah, going to be very, very tricky for Overgaming here. They'll have to do something quite drastic. May as well go for the force buy, though. No reason why not at this point, but, well, I think Overgaming, you can sort of see some of their hesitance in the way they're playing. I mean, just the fact that they couldn't quite work out who was going to carry the bomb for a while is probably not a great sign. But anyway, here come the smokes. Dignitas going to try and receive the push.
They have the weaponry to fend this one off as well. You've got a couple of SMGs in. It's not necessarily fantastic against the armor of Overgaming, but they don't have head armor on a couple of players. You can see that Kyobi is just like, I don't need a weapon. I've got a USP. Drops a double kill with that, with double headshots, and while Dignitas, they are just romping away with this. I mean, it could very well be 16-4. Overgaming went for that full buy there, force buy. Yeah. And now, do they just eco? Do they go for another one? I have no idea. It's pretty much just desperation mode.
I'd say you force it again, but I mean, like, it's a horrific situation either way. You're looking at 1 in 100, 1 in maybe even more than that, 1 in 100 to come back at this point. So very, very unlikely. But for the time being, we'll see what they can do. Maybe some honor, if nothing else. Get some kills on the board. At the moment, only Rome, in fact, is. Well, he's on a neutral KDA, so that's nice. Got to look at the bright spots, you know.
He has been playing okay, to be fair. I mean, most of the time it's been Dignitas either just like forcing through onto the A side. Of course, we're talking about the C side. I'm just talking over this eco because it should be Dignitas that pick it up. He was either on the A side from the CT's perspective, you know, when the roles were reversed, and they just all rushed him, and he basically had no one helping him out with the crossfire. Or it was mid and B being taken, he had to go for the retakes, and he was getting wrecked on the retakes. It's always the trouble on Cache. It can be a very brutal map for the CTs to rotate on if you have weak sights. So, yeah, it's kind of unfortunate, but who knows? Maybe Overgaming can get some dignity back here on this map and then take us somewhere in Mirage. But looking at the Mirage stats, and we'll talk on this a bit more when we jump to that map, it's looking heavily sided for Dignitas.
Oh well, such is life. At the moment, Aposis actually... we have a better performance against Dignitas than Overgaming so far. We'll see if that trend comes through, to see if that becomes good. But Pimp is going to be getting himself a kill at the start of the round here. Muterus goes down. He has not performed on anything close to the same level we saw in the previous match. He was the absolute star player for Overgaming, and now he's second from the bottom. 4 versus 4. In theory, shouldn't be too unreasonable. Dignitas doesn't have that much information to work with right now, although they have very likely guessed what's coming up next.
Well, that Molotov from Blade doesn't make any sense to me, because it's typically a Molotov you're going to throw if you're going to push down vent. But you can see from the rest of their players that's not the case. So for me, not only does that give his position away, but it's a completely useless utility to throw it anyway. And yes, 5615 is doing work. He is getting the frags. He's on 11 HP though. He's not going to clutch this round. And to me, that may take me, well, tell me a little bit about Overgaming, that they're not necessarily 100% into this map anymore. You know, they realise that the curtain is coming down on Cache, and maybe just, you know, look towards the next map, dust yourselves off, try and, you know, just look towards the future. But a very odd decision, to say the least. Now, Overgaming in a force buy with a couple of pistols, going to be trying to bring back 11 rounds to take us to overtime. I don't see it happening, Spud.
Never say never. Don't be so negative. Okay, I can't even finish the sentence. Yeah, okay, right. It's time for like the Last Samurai stuff right now. Everyone just get your knives out. Just go for it. We got it. We got this. No problem. Bullets can't hurt you if you don't believe in bullets. All right, now Overgaming. Not
Is that
in
how
the
it
best
works?
shape. Yes, that's actually how it works. Yes. I have never been shot by a bullet because I don't believe in bullets.
Flawless logic.
IRL. No problem.
I guess Blade just didn't believe enough because he just got picked off from Kirby, and that is going to leave Overgaming in a 2-1-3. Sorry, I can count, honestly. No utility for Overgaming once more, and it really is going to hurt them trying to push through onto the site here. Muteris, I agree, he hasn't had the same level of performance he did previously, but he's against much more difficult foes, really, so I can't necessarily blame him for that. Rome in main could get the drop on the CTs, but he's going to be pushing through. You can see Kirby here up on the catwalk has dropped the bomb, and well, the last player has been picked off. That is Muteris, and Dignitas take the 16-4 map win. I thought it would be their favour. I didn't think it would be that one-sided, though.
Yeah, that's a crush. That really is just an absolute crushing victory there from Dignitas. So, good stuff from them. Overgaming need to do something extremely drastic if they want to change things up. I honestly don't know what they can do, though, because there were a couple of, like, on a, shall we say, strategic or coordination level mistakes. There were definitely times where Overgaming would overcommit or undercommit, or they'd, throw the wrong molly or whatever. But I felt like a lot of it as well was just Dignitas' raw aiming. Their raw entry fragging was so much better.
Well, they were just better in every single way, shape, and form, I think, Dignitas there. And the worrying thing for Overgaming is that's their choice of map. Typically, well, historically, if you want to look at the last 3 or so months, Overgaming have played quite a bit of Cache. This is a map that they like. They've also played quite a bit of Dust 2 as well. So these are the kind of maps that they're clearly comfortable on. Dignitas have 16 wins, 5 losses on Mirage over the last 3 months at the top level of play. So that's crazy stats right there. That is really, really solid play from them, and this is why I'm saying that it's heavily favoured to Dignitas. Now, I cannot see them losing this map.
Yeah, it'll be one hell of a comeback if they can manage it. We'll have to see if they can, but I'm actually not sure if we're going to jump straight into the next game or if we're going to be going into a quick break. But while we're waiting to be informed about that, it's probably worth mentioning there will be a giveaway on today. In fact, there's going to be an AK-47 Vulcan giveaway. So if you want to be entered into that, then do check